What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone is having a great evening. Going live tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Talk some Canes football. Would love to take some calls as well. If you want to call into the show, drop down the number right here 919-647-4716. Let's talk some Canes football. We're roughly 9 days away from the first game of the season against UAB. I'm not going to lie, it's gone by really fast. It doesn't even feel like we're 9 days away from playing UAB. I'm excited. Very excited. I think it's slowly hitting me, as a fan that we're about to play UAB. They do play Central Arkansas this Thursday, so it'll be a nice, kind of first impression what Miami has at the table, moving forward, what they have. Kevin Beer days away. We are 9 days away, and it's exciting. It really is. So 919-647-4716. Call in. Let's talk some Canes football. By the way, guys, we got a lot of great things to get you through this week. Take the call real quick. Thank you for calling the Scoop. Who am I speaking with?
Talking to the Holsum one.
What's up, man? Thanks for calling in.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I was able to get out of work a little early today, and instead of firing it up, I knew you were coming on, so I figured I'd come on and support you, man.
Yeah, man. I greatly appreciate you calling in, Holsum one, man. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well, man. I'm excited. Today we went over the Miami Hurricanes defense. Yesterday we went 5 hours talking about the Miami Hurricanes offense, so that's always exciting.
Absolutely.
Talk about our team. So how do you feel about it, man? We're getting real close to 9 days. Goodness gracious, man. It feels like just yesterday we were on campus and didn't really know if we were going to have a season or not.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. No, I'm, first game of the week. I don't think any team is going to be playing to their best abilities. So I truly think first game, it may be a close game at the first half, but then Miami slowly does pull away just on talent itself. De'Ara King as a mobile quarterback. I don't think UAB is going to be ready for De'Ara King's running ability or this fast-paced offense. So I do see Miami pulling away at the end in the fourth quarter. But I think 16 points, 34-17, 33-17, I think that's appropriate score, Miami over UAB.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, I kind of liken it. I haven't really let it out on my channel, so it's fine. I can do it here. I kind of liken it to FAU back in 2013.
Yes.
Think back to that game. I happened to be at that game. It was my senior season. And in Dade County, you kind of get to take one player with you, and the coach get to go for free. So I was able to go to that game. And, you think of FAU as kind of lowly, but at the same time, they caught a couple of interceptions in that game. They scored. They fought really hard in that game. But eventually, our play pulled away. And it was really good that we had them before we had Florida, because we had FAU, we had a bye week, and then we had Florida. So it's really good that we were able to get some of those kinks out, because you had Stephen Morris and Duke Johnson, who were dynamic. In the first play of the game, we tried a flea flicker, and we couldn't get him deep, so we had to dump it off to Duke, and he got like 15 or 20 yards. But
right.
It showed that we weren't able to just walk on the field, do what we wanted against them, and score in 60 yards. So we had to fight and drive down the football field and score when we could. Got the ball in some of our playmakers' hands and just had them get the experience of making those plays on the field against an opposing team who doesn't want to allow you to win the game.
Right.
It's not like a scrimmage where it's just like, okay, well, you're going against a guy who probably won't play here for 2 or 3 years. Or you're playing against a scout team guy who will never have a meaningful snap to you.
Right.
So I say all that to say, man, I think it's going to be very close, like you said. I'm thinking maybe even something like 14-14 or 17-3 halftime score.
Okay.
I don't expect us to just roll that early. And I expect us to go in, make our adjustments while they make their adjustments. And maybe a turnover or two is what's going to spark it. But then I think we'll end up putting up maybe 35, 42 points on them. But it'll be close at first. And then I like that because then you're able to get the kinks out before you go 10 straight in conference with Louisville, going to Louisville, having Tallahassee come to the house, another bye, and then Clemson. So I think our schedule actually sets up pretty well because you get to get tested early with a solid kick team. You know, no offense to FAMU or Bethune-Cookman, they'll never be able to beat us. So it's not like you're getting challenged by a team that's going to actually hit you in the mouth with
right.
teams like that.
Right.
But your schedule in UAB, who by well was way better than La Tech, FIU, and Central Michigan. And Central Michigan took us down to the wire. So, you know, if you don't come to play, you can't get upset, and all this off-season momentum is gone.
Right.
First game of the season, if you don't come and show up against UAB.
Yeah, no.
Now, Louisville, to where that's like Dade, Broward County, kind of north. You know, it's a lot of guys over for years. I mean, even way back to the early 2000s, and the connection to Louisville is a lot of South Florida guys
right.
have played at Louisville.
And they gave us a hard time.
They're behind last year. So
yeah.
Come to play.
Oh, yeah.
And who's going to cover Tutu Atwell is still a question.
Right.
Trajan Bandy couldn't do it last year.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, those first two games I'm a little nervous about, but I think we'll come out. But UAB it's exciting, man. And being this close, and it'll be something that me and you finally don't have to talk about uniforms. We don't have to talk about off-season polls of who you think is going to do what. We don't have to keep talking about recruiting as the main thing. Finally, the Miami Hurricanes are going to run out of the smoke, and we get a chance to talk about what they have done on the football field.
Exactly.
Against the quality of play.
Exactly. No, I mean, it's kind of nerve-wracking for me because it's going to be our first time seeing the offense. We kind of know what to expect, but to see it fully in play, we haven't seen any of the scrimmages, like short highlights, so we don't really know what to expect, how it's going to function. Just seeing De'Aaron King under center, you know, it's a lot of anxiousness, but I'm curious to see how this offense can function right away because guess what? After UAB, whether we win by a big score, maybe it's a shootout, maybe we don't win, but the next week we got to be ready to play against Louisville, and then we have Florida State. It does not get any easier, so we got to be ready to go.
And that's, you know, to be honest with you, it was said on my channel last night by Dante Colon. He's like, man, that's how it used to be.
Yep.
You know, and not to scream old man, but still, that's how it used. When Miami was an independent, we scheduled the toughest of the toughest. Now, it was a couple of, you know, fluffs. You had your Ball States in there. You had some Rutgers every now and then when we joined the Big E.
Right.
But besides that, our non-conference was out of this world. We played your Floridas, we played your Notre Dames, played your Nebraskas, your Oklahomas, all in the same year. We would go up to Penn State and play. You know, we weren't scared to go play those type of teams every year. So you had 5 games that were at. You had your 5 big-time games, and you know, you had your Tallahassee every year.
Right.
And Florida wasn't scared to play us. You had them too. So you kind of had a barn-burner schedule. But we had a team that could handle it. This year, I don't think the schedule is near as difficult as some of those old-school schedules are. But what it does force is this team who last year, whenever they felt like they could take their foot off the gas, we saw it.
Right.
Whenever they felt like they could just embarrass who's ever out there, we noticed it and we saw it. So this year, you got a couple of buys in there, yes, but every week you must show up because every team on that schedule has the ability to beat the Miami Hurricanes. Now, do I think we'll ever go 0-11? No. But every single team on that schedule has the ability and the staff to beat us if we don't show up.
Absolutely.
And you know that, then you better bet that everyone for still on Coral Gables knows that can happen too. And those players know it, especially after having lot of them ate some humble pie that they needed to eat. I think the whole team definitely did.
Yeah, I agree. And I also want to see if Manny Diaz, how he can control the locker room when things don't go their way, whether it's the first half of a game, whether they lost the game. How do they respond moving forward? Because that's something Manny Diaz has not shown us as a head coach yet. And I'm looking to see if he can win the locker room after a tough loss. Can we win the next game? Can we just shake it off and keep moving? So there's a lot of question marks for Coach Manny Diaz as a coach and a lot of learning experiences in his second year.
Absolutely. A lot of that stuff isn't easy. I mean, you're going to need, and I think this is something that I was watching your channel, and I think Bo was saying this. The main thing was the leaders, man. The leaders on that team. Now, first time Butch Davis was our head coach, at least on paper, and based on how these players talk about these coaches, we finally got a qualified coaching staff at Miami for the first time in 20 years.
Right.
Now, there's a conversation to be said about some people on this staff. I think Coach still has a lot to prove. People don't really like Coach Mike Rumph as far as the non-recruiting aspect of it, but a lot of us, even you, give him credit for what he does as a position coach and coaching these guys.
Right.
I mean, heck, if Trajan Bandy was the calling card for any coach, I think even Corey Raymond would be in trouble if Trajan Bandy was one of his starting corners.
Right.
And I always got to give you credit. You called that like 2 years ago that if this dude ever starts on the outside, it's a freaking problem. And I did not like that. I was pretty pissed you said that.
Yeah, I remembered. It's all good.
Good, man. And then this guy goes out there. And then I think the worst thing that could have happened was how good of a Florida game he had as a first-time boundary corner starter.
Right.
And it's like, oh, man, the hype train is going to go out of this window.
Right.
And no hate on him, but it's just facts.
Yeah.
So if you're a Power 5 school like the University of Miami, you gotta have guys. 5'11" is pretty good. You can have a 5'11" guy,
right?
But he can't be your go-to number one guy.
Right.
It's a problem if he is. And you said that way back in 2018 that if your number one is a sub 5'10" dude, that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah.
You don't have that problem.
Right.
You have 2 second-year starters, DJ Ivy and Al Blazeu, who are really taking that step. I mean, there's a young man at every single position that all of us are excited to see finally take the field. When was the last time we could say that?
Yeah.
When was the last time we could say at all 22 positions, there's at least one guy I can't wait to see what he can do.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah. And I even had this debate yesterday about Duke Johnson being the best player of the last decade. It's like, how is that even a conversation?
Right.
From
Yeah.
2011 through 2019, Duke Johnson was the glue that held the University of Miami together.
Facts.
He didn't pick the U. Oh my goodness. Because him picking Miami turned into Eric Flowers coming to Miami.
Right.
Turned into Tracy Howard coming to Miami, and didn't really work out well. But at least as a college player, he was pretty suffice.
Right.
But anyway, we're kind of getting off topic.
No, it's all good.
I'm excited because you got a De'Aaron King, and for the first time in a while, you got a freaking quarterback. And I don't know, maybe I've always didn't understand the impact of having a QB as good as he is, or at least viewed as good as he is, because
right.
I promise you this, if he would have transferred to us after that 2018 season, because he probably would have had to sit out, and, I think the hype train would have been out of this world, because he had that huge season in 2018, and he would have had to sit out 2019, which probably would have been a good thing, because you don't want to play in that Dan Heenan's offense. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know.
And start for us here in 2020.
Right.
Just the combination at best. Because we got good tight ends. The offensive line is talented, but we need to see it. Wide receiver core is talented, we need to see it. Running back core is, whew. But you can have all of that, and if you're just above average or average at QB,
yeah,
that's the difference between being 7 wins, 8 wins, and being 9, 10, 11 wins. Now, I'm not saying this dude's going to win the Heisman like some people have said.
Right.
But either way, the accuracy, the fact that one of the best players on one side of the ball is finally the freaking quarterback. It's the Eric King offensive show.
Oh, yeah.
Even when Brad was here, who's one of my favorite QBs, when Stephen Morris was here, one of my favorite QBs, it was always the Phillips or Duke Johnson show.
They didn't have a defense either.
Exactly. But I'm saying just talking about, that guy's jogging on the field for the offense.
Right.
When we had Brad, it was about Amon Richards and Stacy and Duke and the pretty good O-line and Clyde Walford and David and Joe. It wasn't always about Brad. Brad, we just knew wasn't going to put us in a bad situation if the O-line blocked for him. He was going to tear him to shreds. We just knew that about him. Stephen Morris, we're like, he sucks as far as across the middle, but if somebody gets open deep, his bombs over Baghdad.
Yeah.
But now we get to talk about a QB to where it's like, and we have to see it, but based on the evidence we have up until right now, he's accurate across the middle. Deep ball, we got to see, because I don't really have much evidence about his deep ball.
Right.
But either way, he knows where to go with his football. He knows this system. He's played in a similar system since in high school. Him and Rick Lashley have a great relationship. They have a great connection so far up until this point. And like you always say, worst come to worst, the play breaks down, what it's going to do, Paul? Take off.
Yep.
And not too many people in the ACC Coastal can run stride for stride with the edge.
How do you contain his running ability? You're going to match up one-on-one with the line. Yeah.
Yeah, that forces 11 on 11.
Exactly.
What does that mean? That means that read option. That means the DN and the outside linebacker is looking at the edge. So what does he do? Hand it off to Cam Dart. Two people just bust outside to stop the Eric King, and now you hand it off to Cam, who takes off for 25, 30, maybe even 40-yard gain.
Right.
Now, to talk our way off the ledge a little bit, we got to see all of this happening in full time, in real time.
Exactly. Exactly.
It makes you happy to think about. If you pop in NCAA and download the latest roster, this is super fun to see. But there's also a lot of questions about this season that we're all kind of nervous to bring up or nervous to see what happens. I remember last year, I was the one on one of our previous shows to say, to me, wide receiver was still a question. We had KJ Osborne, but behind him, I was still wondering who was going to show up.
Right. Exactly.
And it turned out to be true. Yeah, we had a lot of talent there, but, I love Six. I love both. But he needs a little bit more opportunity. D. Wiggins made the absolute best of his opportunities. So I'm a little less worried about him. Jeremiah Payton has had one chance, one ball thrown at him, and one catch. So it's still a little question mark about who's going to show up at wide receiver.
Right. And, a lot of people. Yeah, go.
No, go ahead.
Wide receiver, it seems like we're having a lot of the underclassmen, true freshmen making impacts in spring practice. I'm kind of curious if Jeremiah Payton gets a role in this offense. I think we're going to see a lot of receivers rotating at the beginning, and then we'll kind of get our main rotation. But I think a lot of receivers are going to get receptions in this offense if it works to the way Rhett Lashley wants it to work, when it's fluid, fast pace, in and out, kind of putting up video game numbers that he did at SMU. With James Prochet, for example, having 120 receptions. I mean, we can have receivers at Miami putting up a lot of numbers if it's working to the fullest, this offense.
Oh, absolutely. And, with the coaching experience that I have and with the knowledge that I have, I'm not here to tell everybody, hit the panic button or grab, the confetti to throw at the day.
Right.
Championship. Those are two extremes right now. Okay? The reality is somewhere in the middle there. Whether it's leaning towards the confetti and we're going to a pretty good bowl, that's one side, or we're only a couple wins better than 6 or 7.
Right.
That's another side too. So there's a way for this to go either way. I don't have the answers. Paul doesn't have the answers. Nobody on YouTube has the freaking answers. Are we all going to be super excited after next week, Thursday, and make a show about our chains being back and things looking good? Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely, we're all going to be excited about what we saw. Paul, imagine if De'Aaron King goes out there, throws for 325, runs for 125, 5 total touchdowns, and he's sitting out with a couple minutes left in the fourth quarter. We would have to come. There would be enough people calling your channel, my channel, Junior the Big Dog, and whoever else all at the same time to talk about what we should do.
Yep.
Because we're just excited to see that from the quarterback position.
Exactly.
What's the inverse to that, Paul? What if he goes out there and struggles and we win a close one?
Hey, you know what?
Oh, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, this offense is overrated. Tallahassee ran the same offense with Tim the Browns. Oh, my God.
Right.
There's an extreme of both sides.
Right.
Somewhere in the middle is what we're actually going to get.
I think we just need to, hey, if we take one game at a time, we win the game ugly. Hey, we won. Let's just develop a winning culture, Let's just win games. So if we lose a game, so what? Move forward. I mean, it's a project with a second-year head coach. It's not going to be an overnight turnaround, So let's just take what we got. We have a pretty good staff in the college football ranks at the Power 5 level. So let's just build off of that and take one game at a time. It's already a very odd, extremely modified season. So let's just take one game at a time. We don't know if we're going to have more than 8 games, honestly.
Exactly.
So
now, let me ask you, besides wide receiver, and then we'll go over to defense, and then I'll hop off and let someone else talk to you. But what's your question marks on the offensive side? I mean, O-line is probably low-hanging fruit, but what's your question mark about the offensive side of the ball?
I think it's going to be offensive line. Do we have a starting offensive line unit? How good is our depth? How well are we conditioned? Are we going to see a lot of penalties, a lot of, false starts going on throughout the game? Are we going to have a lot of holding calls? Just stuff like that. How much of a difference is it going to be this offense, protecting our quarterback compared to last season? Now, De'Aaron King, he may bail us out a lot because of his running ability. But still, you got to protect your quarterback. So I want to see how this offensive line answers with this new offense and how good is our depth, because that was an extreme issue this past season. We cannot be giving up away 9 sacks against mediocre teams. It's just pathetic. We're the worst offensive line unit at the Power 5 level last year. We can only get better, and if we want to be a successful program, we have to get better. So offensive line for me.
I think every position has a slight question mark attached to it. So it's not really a wrong answer. You have to ask. At running back, yes, this staple of 3 running backs looks really well. They've been doing well in scrimmages. Can that translate to game? Does that translate? There's also going to be a question after the UAB game. There's going to be a two-sided coin to this, Paul, and me and you both know.
Right.
If we go out there and stunt and it look crazy and we dancing and pop blocks is dropping, everybody cutting up, turnover chain is out, the new chain is out, the new rings, we still got that crap is out. Then are we front running before a solid Louisville team? or are we going to be focused going into Louisville?
Exactly.
You know, are we going to be too overhyped, or are we going to be too down on ourselves if it's Central Michigan 2.0? Now, unfortunately, we don't even want to put that out in the universe and have people worry, but I just want people to understand these things are possibilities. We have to think about them in advance, how we got to that. You know, for me, all those freshman running backs going to show up.
Right.
Because Cam ain't going to be able to take all 1,000% of those snaps.
Right.
He's going to need a snap or two from Donald Cheney Jr. and from the Jalen Knight. What are they going to do with those snaps? How is the momentum shift with that different rotation? Because the wide receiver coach, the running back coach, the tight ends coach, and the OC all said that we're going to do a whole bunch of rotating.
Yep.
So is it going to be a big drop off when it's Xavier Restrepo instead of Harley in the slot? Is it going to be a big drop off when it's Mark Pope and Michael Reddy as opposed to Mark Pope and D. Wiggins?
Right.
What about Jeremiah Payton and Harley in the slot with Keyshawn Smith on the opposite side? Is there going to be a drop off with people at different positions? Is it going to be too different for them to where they can't be comfortable enough to play fast? Or our wide receiver hands issues, has that been fixed?
Yeah, that's a big one. That is a big one. Because that can kill drives.
I love the way they look the ball in.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed that, but that's one thing I've noticed is they actually look the ball in for one. Every time they catch it, they're steering the ball all the way in, and then they whip their head around and go up to it.
Gotcha, yeah.
It's sad that at the University of Miami that's something that's new. But it is. You know, with Coach Dugan's here, we were better O-linemen than wide receivers, if you ask me. The running blocking was the best thing about Coach Dugan's.
Right. It was.
Not the catching. So, you know, can Brevin Jordan play 9 games?
True. Very true. Can Will Mallory
hold on to the football?
He gets open. That's not the problem. It's catching the ball.
Started getting the Green Tree Practice Fields Hall of Famer stamp.
Right.
In 2000.
Right. Will Mallory can put up a lot of good numbers, man, if he just catches the football. I mean, there were probably 7 catches he could have made against Duke. He was targeted probably.
Set the tight end record in one game.
Probably, yeah. At Duke, I mean, yeah.
I think he still had 120, but he dropped like 4.
He dropped a lot. He dropped a lot, yeah.
You know, but he's such a big playability that, you know, I don't know if the Gorkowski comparison is true, but definitely a Travis Kelce, he can be the tight end from Cincinnati. His ceiling is that damn high. He can be that.
Right.
But refining his skills and catching the football in the little things is what he's going to have to perfect if he wants to take that step.
Right.
You know? And for me on defense, I'm actually pretty confident at safety. I don't really worry about them.
Right.
Even the freshmen behind them are pretty good.
Right.
Defensive tackle, and you know, as a former lineman for me, especially on the defensive side of the ball, defensive tackle it's too nerve-wracking. I'm not confident in what I'm seeing at defense.
They've been very quiet.
We can't have that. We can't have that. You know, if we want to take an elite step, we talked about it today, the 2 positions that have to take a step forward. I'm not saying they have to be R.J. McIntosh and Gerald Willis. Those
right.
Be anomalies. But if we want to take a pretty good step moving forward, there's 2 positions that got to take a big step. Defensive tackle and cornerback. Who's our number 1? Who's our number 1 corner? Who's our go-to defensive tackle guy? Who's the guy where the middle linebacker grabs him by the helmet and says, bro, I need you to blow this up and make a play right now.
No one. No one's been proven as the leader of the group yet.
Now, do we have to give him a chance to? Yes.
Right.
The only returning guy with a lot of snaps at defensive tackle is John Ford.
Yep.
And the ship has probably sailed on him. So, but we gotta see. Nesta could be the best in the whole group. Arguably top 5, top 3 in the state.
Yeah.
But we gotta see it.
Right.
On a consistent basis.
Right.
You know, Jordan Miller, one of my personal favorites. He has the size of Ford, the aggression of Nesta, but he really hasn't had a lot of snaps to prove it either.
Right.
And like a key word you said earlier is something that Coach McVie speaks about all the time. It's depth.
Yep.
Because your starting 22 isn't what you're judged on. You're judged on when they're tired and someone else comes in. And who's running down on special teams for you? That's what really kind of changes things with these big-time programs. You know, you talk about those elite teams we want to be in a conversation with. Well, Clemson has 5 stars who can't crack the depth chart, and they're running down the field on special teams. For you.
Right.
Clemson has a 2 or 3 deep at almost every position.
Yeah.
Where if the starter just got routed, or the starter dropped a big time kick, or the starter missed a tackle, they can replace him with a guy that's just as good, that knows exactly what he's doing, that can move just as fast.
Right.
And now you got to worry about it.
Right.
And I don't know if we're to that point just yet.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. Probably move, but we're not there yet.
Yeah. No, we're not. I mean, I want to see how this secondary plays against Trevor Lawrence. Sam Howell again. Some of the best quarterbacks in the ACC. I want to see. I'm very curious, you know, how much of a step they have made. I mean, how you play against Trevor Lawrence is how you can play overall in the country. You know, they had these stats that, Al Blades matches up with, some of the top corners in the nation. Well, let's find out. LSU's defensive backs against Trevor Lawrence, shut him down. Let's see how our cornerbacks play against Trevor Lawrence. I want to see it. That's the real test.
Because you got to remember, earlier in that game, Clemson came to fight.
Second half.
Yeah. Once they had those conversations and really talked about where they want to go and who has who.
Right.
A lot of stuff changed. I agree. And man, you know me, bro. I'm not really big on the stats thing. I'm big on what I watch in the film. And there was this stat about Al Blades Jr. and Jeff Okudah being similar players. And when I saw it, I just put my head down. I said, the fan base is going to run away with it. I know it. We're not going to hear the end of this one. Just like last year, right after Florida and before Florida, Trajan Bandy was considered the top 5 corner in the nation.
Right.
Remember when the stat percentage thrown to him in man coverage on this down?
Right.
The top 3 corners in the nation.
Yeah.
Like, I like Pro Football Focus, but come on. Don't say stuff like that because we're not going to hear the end of it from this fan.
Right.
So, do I expect Al Blades Jr. to be Jeff Okudah? No. Do I want him to be Jeff Okudah? No. I want him to be Al Blades Jr.
Right.
Do the best that you can do. Be the best player that you can be. Hopefully, our defensive coordinator puts you in a position where you're going to be good. So you're going to play well. And that's what I'm hoping for. That's all I want from our players is I want to see them reach a point this year to where they're playing some of their best football.
Right.
But pass rush is going to be key. Pass rush and coverage works together. So if our defensive line is going off, that means that the defensive backs are going to have a chance to get these interceptions.
Right.
These PBUs that everybody everybody likes to see. Because if the QB can't step into his throw, that means it may be wobbly. It's not the strongest ball. And if you're not the fastest, you can really make up and attack the ball because it wasn't able to step and throw it.
Gotcha.
You got big defensive tackles who can put arms in throwing lanes, and they may swat a pass. What happened to that, man? Remember, we used to watch R.J. McIntosh swat 2 or 3 balls a game.
Yeah.
Guess what? That turns first into second down. That turns second down into third down. Sometimes that turns third and 15 into fourth and 15 because they couldn't get the ball across the middle because the defensive tackle just swatted the ball. Miller's 6'4", 4 to 6'5", but are they being coached to put their hand up if they can't make it back there? If I'm bull rushing somebody, Paul, and I'm only 2 or 3 yards in the backfield,
right,
I'm just going to put my hand up to try to affect the play. Because obviously I can't beat this dude one-on-one, so I need to do something.
Right.
And that's get a hand. So at the end of the day, you're judged on everybody that affects the quarterback. You're judged on who's blocking the QB. You're judged on who's throwing for you at QB. And you're judged on who's rushing the QB. Those are the things that every team is going to be judged on. And we're going to see. We're going to see what these teams moving forward. You got any questions on the defensive side of the ball you want to address really quick?
No, are you, one thing I wanted to ask you, were you a little bit surprised Patrick Joyner has moved back to defensive end?
Absolutely not. I think he always was at the end. I'm tired of us doing that, Paul.
Right.
I'm tired of us going and getting guys to come here to transition to linebacker.
Right.
Go get a linebacker.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling to me.
But do you think this kind of ruins Patrick Joyner's career in the sense of just flipping him back and forth, you know?
I'm going to say absolutely not, mainly because it is his natural position.
Okay.
I think this may be the last flip because we're recruiting better at linebacker, so we won't
Right.
need to move him there anymore.
Right.
To where he can kind of hone in to play in that position and move forward.
Okay.
Because if you watch his film that's out there, he played in that 3-3-5 defense. And everything was him flying off the edge, blowing people up.
Right.
Now, do I think he's going to be Greg Rousseau or be some elite defensive end?
No.
No, probably not.
Right.
But what he can do is go put his name in the hat at strong side defensive end and compete against Quentin Williams.
Right.
Against Jabari Hart. And see what he can do.
Absolutely.
You know, because, I mean, he's only 225 right now.
Right.
6'2".
Yeah.
I think if we can get him to 240, 250, and let him just come off that edge and play.
Yep.
Because we've done that to too many plays.
Right.
Talk about Mike Smith back in 2014 out of Miami Northwestern. I
Yep.
watched single-handedly break the Elvis Dumerville sack record. What do? He comes to Miami, and they move him to middle linebacker. Why?
Yep.
Because he's 6'1". Trent Harris, early on in his career, was an edge rusher. And midway through his career, was moved to linebacker because of injury. Tyreek McCord played his last year as a middle freaking linebacker at 6'3". What? That just doesn't make any sense to me. Recruit them for what they do well and let them play. You don't recruit a tight end and make him a running back, do you? Oh, we don't have any depth at running back, so we're going to move. Hey, Will, come on back here and play running back. You're athletic enough. Coach, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, man.
You didn't make Denzel Perriman a defensive end because he's super strong and he can attack offensive tackles.
Right.
But the stuff that did make sense, we didn't do. We didn't move Jamal Carter down to linebacker or Ray Armstrong down to linebacker like we should have, like the NFL made them do.
Right.
We didn't move Ladarius Gunter to safety like we should have did. Like the NFL did as soon as he got there.
Yeah.
He didn't have the hips for corner. It's just some things are a little, excuse my French, some things are a little ass backwards.
Yeah.
And it really gets under my skin when we talk about some of these position changes. I'm hoping that stuff is behind us, and I'm hoping it's starting with putting Joyner back at the end, leaving him there, giving him 2 years to show us something. That's it.
Do you think Jalen Phillips can fill in the hole of Gregory Rousseau? Do you think it'll be that quick of a transition where we're not going to feel any loss, or it's not comparable?
Oh man, that's tough because I think Greg, because I overanalyze defensive line. Greg had a way of getting to the QB based on power and effort.
Right.
We're comparing him to a guy whose technique and athleticism supersedes Greg on a completely different level. Okay. Jalen Phillips, as far as defensive end, I don't want to give the fan base anything to run with for him. Holsum said Jalen Phillips is 10 times better. Oh my God. Jalen Phillips is probably going to have a really good, smooth transition for us at defense.
Really?
Especially because he's going to have a playmate in Quincy Rousseau opposite of him, who's just as good. So, therefore, you can't double team both.
Right.
So, there's going to be a game where Quincy is going to seem like he's wreaking havoc, and there's going to be a game where Jalen's going to just take over. When this game happens depends on who sparks first. And the reason why I say that is because could you imagine if Jalen goes off for 4 sacks versus UAB, but then halfway through the season he only has 4 sacks to his name?
Right.
Then we're going to be like, yo, this isn't what we expect. Well, if Quincy gets 2.5 versus UAB and then only has 4 halfway through the season.
Right.
Oh, this isn't what we signed up for.
Right.
So it's going to be connected to how many points we have. Because if we score a lot of offensive points, the teams are going to be forced to pass the ball. Because that's what's so mind-boggling about Greg's 15.5 is that we absolutely sucked our offense.
Exactly.
Rush the pass.
Right.
You know, imagine him on a team that averaged 30-plus points on the offensive side.
Oh, man.
He may have had 20. He may have had 21. Then he really could have sat out this year because he's going first or second overall, no questions asked.
Right.
He just had 21 sacks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, numbers-wise, I don't know if they'll reach 15.5, either one of them. I think we may have anywhere from 17 to 18 between two.
That's great. I think that's,
that could mean,
yeah.
Yeah, that could mean 9 and 9, or that could mean 10 and 6. That could mean 12.5 and 4. I mean, you don't really know how they're going to get there. But
Right.
in my eyes, it's going to be anywhere from 18 to 20 sacks between the two. I don't know how the math is going to work out just yet. And the main thing I'm hoping for is health. We need those guys to be healthy.
Right.
Who, are starting 22 right now. I need them to make it 10 to 11. Because the backup is just a pretty big drop-off across the board.
No, I mean, I'm excited for Jahvari Harvey. I want to see his impact. Finally, he's going to get a lot more reps this season. I'm very high on him. So I think Miami, they can distribute a lot of the sacks amongst the players involved. I think it can be a special group. Obviously losing Gregory Rousseau, he was our best player. It will hurt us, but the good thing is I think it's going to be rebuild and reload at that position, and I think it will be. I really do.
All I'm hoping is that we put him in position to succeed.
Right.
What I
exactly.
mean by that is none of that 3-down front crap. Because Jalen Phillips is just as big as Greg.
Right.
Okay, so there's a part of me who's pretty nervous about Blake Baker cranking out the 3-down front with Jalen Phillips as the nose, Rousseau and Harvey coming off the edge. I'm still pretty nervous about that being a possibility.
Right.
Which he could easily just put Ford or Nestor on the field as a one technique. And if you put Jalen as a 3, okay. But run an even front and rush the passer with 4 down linemen. Because 3 against 5 simple math means 2 is going to get double teamed. 1 isn't that good, so they're going to leave 1 one-on-one and get the ball out. Does that just makes sense to me?
Right.
So why would you do a 3-down front? Then here's the kicker. He does a 3-down front to blitz 5. So you're telling me you could have just left 4 down linemen on the field and blitzed your linebacker because he can't cut it?
Right.
Instead of seeing the same nickel corner blitz that everybody's seen since last year from your defense, that gave up 4th and 17 and should be scratched out of the playbook forever.
I think that only worked once against Central Michigan or Bethune-Cookman.
Me too. I think that's how Bergen Hall got his first career sack.
Okay, yeah. That's the thing, like Baker, man, he does a lot of blitz packages, and then it kind of does leave us stranded in pass coverage. Leaves someone open.
It leaves us stranded if we're in a close game. I think Blake Baker would have been so much better with DC in everyone's eyes if we were big time home. Because of all the gimmicky stuff he did wouldn't really matter. Because if he gives up 2 touchdowns every game, that's fine. That's actually pretty good.
Right.
If he was to give up 14 or 17 and an occasional 21 points on defense, am I happy about it? No, but that's manageable. But the issue is if we can only score 14 or 21, that's the bad part. And that's what I believe made him look so bad.
Right.
That all the stuff he was doing, we couldn't score on offense. So it really was on him to just not allow this team to score, because if they do, they can take the lead because we couldn't score on offense.
Right.
It's like, how do you make it 3 or 4 quarters with this Miami talent in the ACC Coastal, and you can't give me 3 offensive touchdowns? How sickening is that?
Yeah. No, I mean, it really is. It's kind of like just Enos's offense was like kind of watching paint dry on the wall. That's the way I saw it.
You got Enos on offense. Excuse me, Enos. There's no O in his name because he just sucks on offense. Enos on offense and D'Onofrio on defense.
Oh my God.
Those are the 2 worst coordinators in Miami Hurricanes history.
I think, yeah. Awful. I'm glad that's in the past.
Yeah, I'm glad they're in the past.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we don't get that crap anymore.
Right, exactly. And it doesn't seem like it. I think Manny has acknowledged, it's going to be a 180, So I'm really looking forward to Rhett Lashley's offense this upcoming season, and just see how a lot of these ACC teams, how do they respond to this offense? We finally had that dual threat quarterback, that is a threat with his legs. How do you respond to that? A lot of teams had no answer for the Michael Vicks, the Pat Whites. When is the last time we saw an ACC quarterback that was this, well, Deshaun Watson, I would say, kind of, but he's even more mobile than Deshaun Watson. He literally, De'Aaron King with his running ability. He's literally a running back on the field. He played receiver at Houston. Then with his passing ability, I haven't seen a quarterback like this in the ACC that I can remember in a while.
No, my only thing is, I can't tell you what to do, but I try not to get overly amped about De'Aaron King because I don't want all the pressure to be on King. I think he's built for it, but I don't want to where if something goes left, things don't work out to where everybody's pointing the finger and dragging down De'Aaron King for not being RG3 at my feet. That's my whole thing about it.
Right.
I think he's qualified enough. I like the fact that people are acknowledging him as a passer because he's not just a running threat. He's actually pretty dang accurate with the football.
Right.
And he can put it in a position to have our players throw the football and catch the football in open space. He's really familiar with this offense. That's super important too.
Right.
So, is the be-all, end-all QB play? Yeah. But to me, it's the connection between the QB, the OC, and the rest of this team. Tempo is going to be big key. Because you can only go fast when you know what you are doing at a high level. I would hate to watch a game, could you imagine if we go 3 and out for the first series?
That's fine. I think that's going to be normal. I'm expecting that, actually.
So you're expecting a couple hits?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad you're looking at it like
yeah, absolutely. But I wouldn't be.
6 plays, 83 yards, touchdown change, bring out the rings.
I wouldn't expect that either. But I wouldn't be surprised if that does happen if the offense is very fluid. There's no hiccups, you know what I mean? But I'm expecting a first couple rough drives. I'm first game of the year. I'm expecting that. A lot of penalties.
Okay. All I'm hoping is that this offense is going to be sustainable, man. I would love if, they show modern day RPA. Not that Mark Richt crap. I'm talking about there's a slant, there's a handoff, there's a QB keeper, and then there's a post right behind that slant or a deep end right behind that slant where the linebacker has to pick which one.
Right.
Like, I want to see that type of stuff.
Right.
Well, I want to see you got Higgins, you got Cheney, you got Harris all in the backfield in a diamond formation. De'Aaron King lifts his foot up and they go 5 wide out of that.
Yep.
To where you thought it was a run because everybody's in there. And now you got linebackers against our running backs at wide receiver.
Right. And I think it will be that. Just fast pace.
Fact. I want to see Cam Harris go back there. And then you got De'Aaron King at wide receivers. And we're running a wildcat. And we motion De'Aaron King across. And De'Aaron King gets an ace jet. Like, that's the type of stuff that.
Damn.
You talk about your Oklahomas, your Texas Techs. You talk about modern day offense. That's the type of stuff that we get to see.
Right.
It isn't fanboy. It isn't just NCAA video game. No, that stuff actually happens. And if you study spread football, That type of stuff happens, especially when you have a dynamic player like King
Right.
that we do have. You can do all that with, and it's not an abnormality. It's something he can do to a high level.
Right.
So,
All right, Wholesome One. Well, man, thank you so much for calling in, man. And please, by all means, tell people about your channel. If they haven't heard of it, I don't know how they haven't, but we got the Wholesome One Holloway. Go check out his YouTube channel, man. And anything you want to tell everyone out there watching?
Hey, man, make sure y'all swing over to Phillips One Holloway. I love being able to, talk about our canyon. Great place here at Paul Scoop at the U. So I thank you all. Y'all have a great day. God bless.
Hey, Wholesome One, thank you so much for coming on, man. Wholesome One Holloway came on. Great caller, man. He has his own YouTube channel. Holsum Holloway, I've done some shows with him a lot. Met with him on campus, did a live show from there. So he always has a lot of great content, very knowledgeable, has a high IQ about the game. So if you are looking for someone to, really go in depth, I think defensive line is really his specialty, but really go in depth with the game of football. Give you kind of more of an in-depth analysis, breakdown by breakdown, position by position. I think Holsum One Holloway is probably one of the best at doing that on YouTube. I know Roman Kane has his own YouTube channel. He does break down a lot of quarterbacks as well. He also does have a great channel as well. So Roman does a great job with quarterbacks. Holsum One Holloway, very good job breaking down each position by position, very in depth, very high football IQ. So definitely go check out his channel, Holsum One, on YouTube. A lot of great stuff, and he's always doing live shows as well. 919-647-4716. Call in. Let's talk some Canes football. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Central Arkansas, UAB this Thursday. Okay, a lot of things to look forward to this week. Saturday, we have the Miami Hurricanes football roundtable as well. We're going to be having like 7 guests: Steve Kim, D Money from Canes Insight, Roman Kane. We're going to have Marsh X from Footballville Nation, Derek Coe. We're having everyone. My co-host Brad will be there. I will be there. It's going live Saturday at 8 p.m., guys. Tomorrow night, I'm having Miami Hurricanes football after dark. On the Holsum One Holloway right there. Check out his channel, guys. Subscribe, hit the like button. Go to Holsum One Holloway's channel. Some of the best Canes content you will find, position by position breakdowns as well. The man knows his stuff. Probably one of the best out there, in the game, breaking down Canes football. Holsum One Holloway, go check him out. 919-647-4716. Let's talk some Canes football. We got UAB in 9 days. We got him Kevin Beard number, as Mr. HD said. We're Kevin Beard days away. So call in, talk some Canes football. I got Miami Hurricanes after dark going on tomorrow night. We will always record that through Zoom, and we will upload the video, everything that we spoke about. And that's basically just kind of an open area for all Canes fans to talk Canes football. And, just for people to say whatever they want to say, about the program. They're open to say it, kind of like an open mic set up where we have the fans just talk what they want to talk about, regarding Canes football. So you can also talk Canes football. Calling in at 919-647-4716. I am taking the phone calls right now. Call lines are open. So go at it, guys. Hit us up. 919-647-4716. Let's talk some Canes football. Look, I'm very excited about week 1 against UAB. I am, but I am also going to be very realist going into this season. We have a first-year offensive coordinator who, yes, he is a Broyles Award finalist. But, it is a new offense. It is a new quarterback. It's a new teammates, a new wide receiver core, a new offensive line. Isaiah Walker, is his eligibility still up in the air? I think so. I don't think he's been declared eligible yet to play immediately. We did have one of probably the worst Power 5 offensive line unit in the nation this past season. How good are we going to be this upcoming season? Now, the goal of the Rhett Lashley offense is to get rid of the football in less than 3 seconds. And I think that's very ideal at the college football level. I think in the NFL level, it's 2.3 seconds. You have enough time, or 2.8 seconds to get rid of the football, give or take. So, the goal in the Rhett Lashley offense is to get rid of the football in less than 3 seconds. I think that is ideal. And once again, D'Eriq King, he can bail out the offensive line as well. If the pocket does break down, we do have that viable option with D'Eriq King. Last season with Jaron Williams, he would sit in the pocket and he didn't want to run. There would be an open lane. He'd get 10 yards, move the chains for a first down. He refused to take off and run. It wasn't, first nature for him. Now with D'Eriq King, that's his first nature ability to take off and run. I think his running ability will be a game changer for this upcoming season, and we're going to win a lot of football games because of D'Eriq King's running ability. But that's just my opinion. Hey, who knows? Maybe D'Eriq King, he's going to be in a pass-heavy offense. I think it's going to be a power spread offense, a lot that we saw with Rhett Lashley and Nick Marshall out of Auburn. I think it was very successful, Christian Williams asks, who do I see next commits to this class? Amari Daniels, running back out of Miami Central. I think he's a very, very good recruit to add to this class specifically. Undersized running back, but that's fine in this Rhett Lashley offense. I think he can be very successful. We're developing nice depth at every position. If you guys haven't noticed, quarterback position, we have solid depth. Running back position, we got that Franklin. We got Amari Daniels on board. We have a very young running back group. Very talented as well. Offensive line, we're starting to develop a second team offensive line as well. Wide receiver core, it is very young, very inexperienced, developing some nice step there. Linebacker core as well. Defensive line, as we all have seen, our defensive ends group is just rebuild and reload at this point. Defensive tackle is a question mark still, but hopefully, we can bring in some recruits, moving forward, develop some nice step there. That's a great question, that Holsum one brought up. Who's going to be the leader of the defensive tackle group? It's been a very, very quiet fall, I would say, for our defensive tackles. Nesta, Jonathan Ford, Jordan Miller. Who's going to rise out of those three guys? They are our returning defensive tackles this upcoming season, kind of the veteran players as well. Nesta was a highly touted recruit out of American Heritage Plantation. Will he step up this upcoming season? It's to be determined as of right now. I think he will. I think he'll come around. I'm pulling for him. And Jonathan Ford as well, man. Physically, he's up there, strength wise, with some of the elite Power 5 level defensive tackles, man. I mean, physically there, physically is built. And once again, guys, secondary cornerback play. I think we're slowly building depth there. It's just very, very young right now. We have a lot of true freshmen, a lot of inexperienced players. And then, because after DJ Ivy and Al Blades, who else do you have? So I think over time, bringing in a guy like Tim Burns as well, I think we're slowly going to build depth there. And then, of course, at safety, we are stacked. So you're seeing depth at positions being built. It's got to match up at the same time. We're slowly getting there at every position. Some positions we're seeing it already develop. Like we saw at defensive end, like we're seeing at safety, like we're seeing at running back. If, 2021 class does hold tight, Amari Daniels comes on board. We're slowly seeing it at the offensive line. Well, I think we're seeing it at the quarterback room. So, depth is getting there. Over under 2,500 passing yards for King. I am going to say, wow. I think 2,500 is the magic number. So why not over? I think if he goes over 2,500 passing yards, 1,000 rushing yards, I think that is the magic number for Miami to have a successful season. Let's see what happens moving forward. Who is your starting offensive lineman? Speaking of offensive line, guys, Cleveland Reed is taking snaps at center. I think Corey Gaynor will be our first team center, but Cleveland Reed is also taking snaps at center as well. I think we can get him down at left guard as well, backing up Ousmane Traore. Zion Nelson was at left tackle. So it's going to be very interesting who our starting offensive line is. I know Rhett Lashley did state that the whole left side of the offensive line was still to be determined. The right side of the offensive line was figured out. I have like a bunch of like literally lineups written down. I can pull it up for you guys. But it's going to be very interesting how this offensive line does pan out moving forward. I think last year it was a completely different offense. We relied heavily on very, very slow play action passes. We went max protection basically every other snap. So, in which it sucks because when you go max protection, you take your tight ends out of the football game. But, it's going to be very interesting how this offensive line plays in a no huddle up tempo offense. The goal of Rhett Lashley's offense is to score in 4 plays. That is the goal, obviously. It's very hard to do, but, that's the goal of this offense. So are they well conditioned? How many penalties are we going to get? Remember the second scrimmage of the season, there were penalties left and right. Can we protect our quarterback, De'Aaron King? Is he going to have to bail out our offensive line every other play? So just questions like that moving forward. I'm not as much worried about our first team offensive line than our second team offensive line. I know a lot of people expect Jalen Rivers to make a big impact. A lot of people thought Zion Nelson was going to redshirt as well. Just things like that. But I think seeing Cleveland Reed go back to right guard where he was originally at during his first year at Miami is definitely a positive sign. I think John Campbell as well. He's going to be very good moving forward. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried about our first team. It's more of our second team depth. How can they perform this upcoming season? 919-647-4716, guys. Call in. Let's talk some Canes football. Man, it does not feel like it's 9 days away from the first game of the season at all. So it's been a wild ride, but hey, I'm excited. We're gonna have football underway. Obviously, the end goal is to have a healthy season. Blake James did speak with the University of Miami Alumni Association last night and said, if it's more than 8 games, it's considered a successful season. Those words kind of did. What's up, 305 Sports? How you guys doing? The Euro Brothers, I've had them on multiple times. Thank you for coming through, guys. Check them out. They do a lot of good interviews. If you're into the high school basketball scene in Miami, high school football as well, they do a very good job covering all Miami sports as a whole, the city itself. So definitely check them out, man. They do have a lot of good recruiting interviews, and I think they're trying to get into the high school basketball scene. That's more of their niche. I want to have them on when we talk college basketball for Miami Hurricanes sports. So definitely check out the Euro Brothers, Anthony and Michael. I've had both of them on my show, and we will have them more on my show for college basketball, Miami Hurricanes basketball. That's, going to be an interesting season as well. But yeah, guys, I think this season you just got to take it week by week. Whatever happens, happens. So you just got to take it one game at a time. And, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting how, how we play week 1 against UAB. UAB is not a joke. They're a very solid football team. They really are. So they're a run-heavy offense, I heard. I'm going to check them out against Central Arkansas, see what they have to offer, moving forward. But someone did make a point, and I asked this question to Steve Kim, and he actually gave me a very good response to it. If we do end up in a shootout against UAB, kind of final drive, last second field goal, or we do lose to UAB, I mean, what does that mean to you? First game of the year. If it's a close game, a shootout with UAB goes to overtime, we win, or if we lose to UAB, what does that mean to you with Manny Diaz as your head coach in this upcoming season? Does that mean anything, or just, hey, move forward on to the next game? Want to hear from you guys. Steve Kim told me it is unacceptable that you need to fire Manny Diaz on the spot if you lose to UAB. There is no reason at all we should be playing in a close game against UAB, and I completely get it. No, I get it. We shouldn't be in close games against UAB, but it is a weird season. We didn't have spring football. We just had a short fall season, 3 scrimmages they're going to have. I think they got 1 more, and then they named their final starting lineup. But want to hear from you guys. What do you think if after the UAB game, if it's a really close game, if we lose, what are your thoughts on Manny Diaz as your head coach after week 1? I personally, for me, let's just win and let's just move forward week by week. 919-647 guys 4716. By all means, call in. If not, I may wrap it up. It is 11 p.m. right now. People are saying Miami has to win. UAB definitely has the upper hand with a week of play under their belt. What if we lose to UAB but beat Clemson? So here's my thing. If we beat Clemson. The Clemson game, beating Clemson, yeah, it's a big deal. But at the same time, other programs in the past have beat Clemson. Syracuse, for example, when Syracuse beat Clemson, Dino Babers was one of the hottest coaches in America. He was on everyone's hot board to hire. Potential next greatest coaches, blah, blah, blah. Syracuse was program on the rise. Guess what? Syracuse hasn't done anything since they beat Clemson. Neither has Pittsburgh. So is beating Clemson that glamorous? Maybe in the ACC title game. Yeah, I agree. ACC title game it is. Welcome to the Scoop. Who am I speaking with?
How are you, bro?
Hey, how you doing, man? How's everything?
Good, man. Excited, bro. 9 days away.
I know.
Can't wait.
It doesn't feel like it, right?
No, man. It feels like the game's going to be tomorrow or something. But about this UAB game, before the season, when we had a regular schedule, I was the type of guy that was going to put a lot of stock into the Temple game. Just to see, Red Lashley's for real, the bringing in of the Eric King, and all these changes. I was going to put a lot of stock in the Temple game. Now, due to COVID and all these changes, I was going to put a lot of stock in this UAB game. But then I started doing a little bit of thinking, and I'm thinking, we really actually had just 1 month, of just helmets, pads, installing the offense. So it shouldn't surprise us if we see a little rust. It shouldn't surprise us if we see, the team struggle, quote unquote, a bit. But what I'm hoping to see against UAB is, I don't mind that we struggle in the first quarter or maybe even half of the second quarter. But what I do want to see is the rest of the second quarter and the third and the fourth quarter. I just want to see the offense get better and better and better and just put points and, beat them 35 to 14 type of game. If they do that, I'll be all right. If they get into a shootout like Central Michigan last year,
right,
I would be very, very disappointed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if it's an ugly game like we saw against Central Michigan, where everybody just kind of gave up in the sense, there was no leadership, the team was just flat in general, I think that would be a big disappointment. I do agree, because Central Michigan was a drive away from winning that football game. They just were really awful. We just kind of knew we were going to win the whole time. They sucked.
For real. And something interesting, I saw a tweet by Christine Chineros. I probably butchered her name, but she's a writer. She quoted Diaz saying that he's excited to see this team because I'm just paraphrasing here, but he's basically excited to see this team because he thinks the culture has changed. So last year, we heard about this cancer, but now it seems that the culture is trajectorying, is trending towards a better. That the culture is getting better. That cancer is no longer in the locker room, and I hope to see that as well this year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I want to see. I mean, Miami, they're going to lose one game this season, no doubt about it. Sure. But how do they respond after that game? Yeah, how.
Let's be real. It's going to be Clemson, but yeah.
Right. How do we respond after that loss? Or what if we're down by 21 points at halftime? How do we, respond in the locker room? Manny Diaz still has failed to show us as a head coach that he can manage a broken locker room. He still hasn't showed us. Yeah, it was his first year, but that first year was awful. So this second year is going to be big, man. And you know what? That quote from Manny Diaz, I still don't buy it until I see it, man, because I feel like he could have said the same thing before the Florida game with the new Miami stuff. I feel like that's the same thing, just in a different wording.
Perhaps, but he has been a lot quieter this year.
Yes, he has.
All the antics that we saw last year, TNM, and all the crap talking, like none of it this year. He's been silent. He's just been putting his nose down, working hard behind the scenes.
Right.
And last year was definitely a humbling experience. Like he got humbled.
Oh yeah.
So I just hope, I just hope we see an improved team, an offense that could put up 28, 34 points per game. And, but that one loss is definitely going to be Clemson because, let's be real, that coaching staff is a head and shoulders above our coaching staff. They develop those kids better. Some say that our talent is probably comparable to Clemson. I don't quite think so. But, like, those coaches, man, they've been in championships. They've been together for, like, forever. And they know how to develop kids. But, let's just shoot our shot and see where we're at,
Right.
But, yeah.
No, I'm with you, man. I mean, Clemson staff, they just lost Jeff Scott to USF. Brett Venables has been their DC for quite a while. But no, depth-wise, elite-wise, Trevor Lawrence, that's the best quarterback our secondary will ever see play in their college football career, hands down. So how do they match up against Trevor Lawrence? I'm very intrigued, man. I think he's going to have a picnic against us, but you never know. Anything could happen, man, on any given Saturday. So that's definitely a game I think we're probably going to lose, but you never know. Clemson does come out flat a lot, man. A lot against random opponents. So maybe we're that random opponent. I don't know. Wait, go ahead.
No, yeah, Mark Rogers made a point of that in a show of his. I think it was with Cam or maybe with Holsum even. That Clemson has this habit of losing to a Pitt or to a Syracuse. So hopefully this year we could be, their Pitt and they could just upset them somehow.
The only thing I will say is that the Pitt and Syracuse's, as a program, they did not get any better after that Clemson loss as a program moving forward.
Yeah. No, yeah. We need to get better.
So even if we lose to Clemson, hey man, let's finish strong the season, and let's try to get to the ACC title game. Whoever we're playing, whether it's Notre Dame or Clemson, let's try to get back there. And I think 1 or 2 losses get you in. That's it.
Yeah, and most importantly, we need to make it 4 in a row against Backpack U. So it's going to be 4 in a row with 4 different QBs. We got to welcome Norvell in right.
Watch out with that game, though. I don't think it's going to be that easy. I really don't.
It never is, but
right. Yeah, I think we'll win. But I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park per se. It never is, like you said. But hey.
Last year, I even think last year we could have dropped like 30 or 40, but
right. It is what it is, man. Hey, I'm gonna let you go, but thank you so much for calling, man. I greatly appreciate it. All right, man. Have a great night.
You too.
All right, man. Peace. Yeah, hey, I think we will be losing to Clemson. But hey, you never know what could happen on any Saturday. You never know, as long as we line up and they line up. You never know what could happen any given Saturday. That's the beauty of college football, right? So, hey, I still am worried about our cornerbacks, our secondary as a whole, going up against Trevor Lawrence, man. It's really going to be an intriguing matchup. I think it's going to be a great program evaluator where we stand at our secondary, specifically our cornerback group. Where do they stand moving forward? They will be tested. Where does our whole football team as a whole, where do they stand moving forward against this Clemson football team that was just in the national title game going toe-to-toe with LSU? And then LSU pulled away completely in the second half. But they were in the national title game. Where do we stand moving forward? Can we get to the ACC title game this season? It's been 3 years. I think that was the first time we've been to the ACC title game, 2017. Can we get back? Joining the ACC has not been a good move for Miami. I think everyone can agree it has not been the ideal situation. It's not what we predicted as a program we would be at moving forward in modern day. So, hey, it's time to get back to the ACC title game. It's time to start winning football games continuously. We're very streaky as a program. We win consecutively and we lose consecutively. I want to see that end. I want to see win consecutively. If we lose a game, that's it. Move forward. Win consecutively. So, hey. All right, let me get the phone line back up real quick, guys. 919-647-4716. Give us a call. Let's talk some Canes football, man. We are 9 days away. Got a live call-in show. Hopefully, after the games, kind of around this time or whenever the game ends, we'll be able to do live call-in shows. We'll talk some Canes football with you guys. Welcome to the Scoop. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, what's up, Paul? This is Phil the King.
Hey, man. How you doing tonight?
Everything's good. Just chilling. I just wanted to touch base with you. It's kind of quiet right now.
Yeah, man.
I just wanted to ask you, who do you think will be the first to put 7 points on the scoreboard? Or 6 points?
Great question. Wow. You know what? I think it's De'Aaron King himself. I think he's gonna he's gonna drop back. Pocket's gonna break down. We're gonna be in the red zone. He's gonna tuck it off and run and take off.
Right. And I think it's actually very good to have De'Aaron King on our team. When we do face Clemson, Clemson is definitely the better squad when it comes to talent and depth. But De'Aaron King is a playmaker. I feel like if we were, to put him in call the right plays and put him in good positions, to at least get down the field in which we can have a shot at kicking a field goal.
Right.
And giving Jose Borregales a chance to kick, we will be able to put points on the board. And, at least be in the game against Clemson.
Right.
I mean, anything can happen.
Right. Exactly.
It really have to settle down. But, honestly, I feel like, they play really, well, and they're aggressive and they're, matching the energy that, we can have an upset. Anything can happen in football.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. I think kicking, like you said, can make a difference, man. Because if our special teams isn't up to par, man, like we saw this past season, we're gonna lose a lot of points, taking off the board, so that's gonna be key. Is there any way you can put your mic up? Yeah, I got a couple people on the comment section saying the mic was low. I'm trying to fix the audio over here. See if it's better.
No, I've got it on speaker, but
okay.
I'm on 2 phones, I'm listening and whatnot.
Gotcha.
But I just want to call in and touch base with you, and just watching the show.
Hey, appreciate it, man.
Everything goes, no problem. You have a good night.
Hey, you too, man. Thank you so much for calling, man. Have a great rest of your night. All right, man. Peace. There it is, man. That's a great point. Special teams. Can we, fix our special team woes that we had the past season? Obviously we no longer have Bubba Baxa, but still, man. I mean, we're gonna bring in Andres Borregales. I mean, he's got to be on point. We got to stop missing field goals as a program. We lost a lot of games. A lot of missed opportunities, a lot of points we could have added to the scoreboard were missed because of missed field goals. I think punting, we're going to be fine in punting position. I think Lou Headley, he's got it down packed there, but special teams, man, and getting a good punt returner, kick returner as well, man. I think that makes a big difference for your offense. There was a time where special teams at Miami as a whole was very good. Our punt return, Devin Hester, for example, he would set up, the offense for very, very good field position, or he would just take it himself for a touchdown. So, man, special teams does need to be fixed. I think Coach Packey is the special teams coach. So, hey, it is what it is. No big deal, I guess, right? I mean, we all have our favorite coaches. We all have our, least like coaches, I would say. So hey, we'll see what happens. Now, if I want to hear from you guys as well, as a program, if Manny Diaz, if there's still some issues that we've seen in the past in the defensive side of the football, Manny Diaz still has not shown us that he will relegate or he will fire, the coaches that are part of his family tree that he had at Louisiana Tech, Middle Tennessee State, bring to Miami, that he was with at Mississippi State. Remember all these guys, Coach Baker, Coach Packey, Coach Banda, Todd Stroud, they're all part of the Manny Diaz tree. He's coached with these guys in the past, or he's coached under him. Remember, he was with Todd Stroud down at NC State. Coach Banda has been with him at Mississippi State, Louisiana Tech, Coach Baker as well. So Coach Packey was with him at Mississippi State. So, can he relegate his coaching tree? It's something a lot of coaches in the past at Miami have failed to do, such as Al Golden with Mark D'Onofrio, Mark Richt and his own son, John Richt. So can Manny Diaz do that as a head coach? We have not seen it yet. Just something to look out for. I don't know. But let's see. Oh, Mike Rumph as well. A lot of people, I know either you love Mike Rumph or you don't like him. But hey, where do you think we stand if our cornerback group does not play up to par this upcoming season? It's a very young, very limited group as well. Recruiting-wise, I don't think Mike Rumph, what the story has been told throughout many people, that he is not the head guy in recruiting. Coach Banda does the recruiting. Mike Rumph just really coaches. So, I think everyone can agree he's not a strong recruiter at all. He's not your ace recruiter on the staff. He's going to be more of your developer, your coach, not the recruiter you want at all. In college football, recruiting is very big. You want to get those guys in the programs. You love those Corey Raymonds, those ace recruiters, the Derek Ansleys. Those are the guys who bring in a lot of hype to the program, get your recruiting class stacked. Top 5 in the nation. Corey Raymond, what he's doing at LSU, tremendous things. I mean, that's an up-and-coming defensive coordinator. I think he's the head recruiter and cornerbacks coach at LSU, and I think he will get an opportunity to be a defensive coordinator in the next coming years. Derek Ansley, he's the defensive coordinator at Tennessee. I think Tennessee right now is like number 1, number 2, or number 3 in the nation in recruiting. That's a very strong staff Tennessee has under Coach Jeremy Pruitt. I think their quarterbacks coach, T. Martin, he's one of the best recruiters in the nation as well. So just some names to look out for moving forward. Up-and-coming recruiters, defensive coordinators, but, that does bring a lot of value to your program. But so does development. So, hey, it is what it is. Want to hear from you guys. We must be undefeated going to Clemson. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I completely agree. By the way, I think 1 or 2 losses gets you in one of the first or number 2 spot for the ACC title game. But if you get 3 losses, you're not in. I think it's Clemson, Notre Dame, Miami, UNC. I think those are the 4 top dogs. I would say 4 contenders to compete for the ACC title game. Anyone else? I don't think Virginia Tech. I think they're on the outside looking in. No excuses for Manny year 2. I agree. Got $5 donation from Francisco Javier out of San Diego, California. Thank you so much for joining us, man. I hope you can join our Miami Hurricanes After Dark show tomorrow. If you're down, let me know, man. I know you've been busy with work and stuff, but thank you again, man, for your $5 donation. Hope everything is well out in San Diego. Rumfelito is on the chopping block, bro. M. Brown not coming. Heard from local sauces, dude fishing for SEC offer. There it is. We got Francisco Javier out in San Diego, man. Thank you so much for the $5 donation and for tuning in tonight, man. I greatly appreciate it all the way from San Diego. Would you prefer a staff or recruiter? Would you prefer on-staff recruiter or developer? Man, I like recruiters because they bring so much value in the sense of players coming from high school in your program, and they build that elite depth that we have seen at the safety position, because Coach Band has done a very good job as a recruiter. Like we've seen with Coach Fields offensively, man. One of the think he's the 4th best recruiter in the nation. You bring in those elite recruits coming into your program when you have recruiters, developers. That's kind of the Virginia Tech model, kind of the Wisconsin model. I think consistently throughout time, you're going to have the same system, kind of same player mentality, which creates a winning culture in your program. I think that's when you have the developers, you kind of bring in that Wisconsin mentality. Everyone buys into the program. But recruiters, you're going to have a very nice class. And when you surround your recruiters with good coaches, like we saw at LSU, with the Joe Bradys, with the Corey Raymonds, I think that's a scary recipe for success. I think that's your national title right there. Brother Jay Blaze, $5 donation. Thank you so much, man. I greatly appreciate it for your support, for hopping on tonight, man, tuning in. Thank you so much, man. Hope you're staying blessed, staying safe right now, during this pandemic, during these times, man. So thank you so much for your donation. Secondary has been solid for the past few seasons. I agree. I do agree. I think cornerback play past year was not good, but I think safety play, the expectation has definitely been elevated under Coach Manny Diaz's watch. He's turned around that safety room, no doubt about it. Outstanding job. I think we've seen flashes at cornerback play with Michael Jackson developing into a very good player at Miami. So we have seen that at Miami with Coach Rumpf developing cornerbacks. Michael Jackson was a 2-star recruit out of Hoover, Alabama. Gets him in the program. Wasn't recruited by Mike Rumpf per se. He was recruited under Al Golden. Didn't really get a lot of playing time. Then we heard in the offseason he was doing well. Boom. Comes in. Outstanding job. FIU building a nice recruiting class. Okay. I mean, FIU in the sense they have a lot of potential because it's a very big school. It's a lot bigger than Miami. Most kids in the city of Miami, they go to FIU because Miami is a private school. I think in the long run, they have a lot of potential. They can be very well funded. Butch Davis is a solid football coach. So I think in the long run, FIU has a lot of potential. I mean, basketball, like, I'm not trying to change the subject, but like, for example, like basketball, like Isaiah Thomas was their head coach. Rick Pitino's son was their head coach, and like nothing, the ball never got rolling down their basketball program. So I'm interested to see what Butch Davis can do in their football program. Mario Cristobal was their head coach as well. Like I said, it's not an easy project. It's a very long vision for FIU football, basketball, athletics as a whole to get the ball rolling. But I think over time, it may not be in 10 years, it may not be in 20 years. I think maybe in 50 years, FIU, you may have something there as a program, but it's going to be a very long time. I think the offensive line is nothing to worry about with the quick release of King, getting the ball out in an up-tempo offense. Yeah, no, I agree. I really do. I think we'll be fine. I really do. Offensive line. I'm just curious, penalty-wise, are we going to give up a lot of penalties? Are we well-conditioned as well moving forward, as this offensive line unit as a whole? All right, let me get the phone line back up. Let me find it real quick. (919-647-4716), guys. By all means, give us a call. 66 people on the live show, man. It's 11:33 p.m. Thank you so much for everyone for joining us on this late night. I know we got a lot of West Coast people joining us as well. It's probably 8:33 around there. So hey, thank you so much for everyone for joining us, man. It's not even about the views, the people on, man. It's just about that we get to talk Miami Hurricanes football with everyone. And it's a community. So I think that's the best part of this YouTube channel. Love to hear what you guys think, man. 9 days away before we take on UAB. I'm excited. It's been a quick fall season. I think the off season from spring to fall went by a little bit faster for me, just with all the recruiting going on. With all the commitments, the crazy recruiting stories that we had to follow. So I think that's really what caused kind of the quick transition into the end of fall. Yeah, no, I've always said it. Chris Gonzalez. Recruiting in the state of Louisiana, that's a great area. To get recruits, a lot of under the radar players there, like you said, Reggie Wayne, Ed Reed. They're not high star recruits. I mean, you can get those guys who get overlooked from Louisiana, from in the state of Louisiana, from the LSU's, from the Alabamas, from the Ole Misses, from Auburn's, from the SEC country as a whole. Man, go into Louisiana and get guys. LSU, they're going to have everyone and their mom want to go there now. They just won the national title. They're going to overlook a lot of players in the state of Louisiana. So Miami can do a lot of damage. But hey, it's all good. And I think we have targeted Louisiana as well. We have been targeting players. I think Malik Neighbors, wide receiver out of the state of Louisiana, was interested in Miami. So we are peeking into Louisiana a little bit. Mason Smith, a very good defensive tackle, one of the best in the nation, is from the state of Louisiana. So there's a lot of talent there. There is, man. There's a lot of fast, good athletes from Louisiana, similar to Miami. Like I said, LSU is a very good program, so why not? Why not peek into Louisiana? It doesn't hurt, Why not add South Florida and the state of Louisiana and put them together? 919-647-4716. Give us a call. Let's talk some Canes football. Whew, man, I'm excited. I really am excited with recruiting going on. Recruiting's never been a problem at Miami. Every coach, I want to remind people, Randy Shannon had the number 1 recruiting class in the nation. Al Golden, he had number 8 recruiting class in the nation. Mark Richt, he had actually like top 3, and then it slowly died down. Towards the end, it was 7 or 8. Recruiting has never been the problem with any coaches in Miami. I think it's developing, which is the main issue. Is getting your core assistant coaches, which is the backbone of your football program. That quote is from Urban Meyer. That is the key to having a successful program, is once you get the recruits in, develop them. And I think we've seen the talent at Miami. There's plenty of talent. There's plenty of undrafted free agents that do very well in the NFL. There's plenty of players that don't really do very well at Miami, and then they have great college careers. I mean, great NFL careers. We saw that with Sam Shields. We've seen that with Anthony Chickalo, So, Ray Armstrong, to a certain extent, yeah, same, very good NFL career so far. Got a nice contract at Miami. Not so much. They're not the best career at Miami. So just players like that, we don't develop at Miami. So I want to see more development of players. And I think we're seeing that with this staff. I think it's a very solid staff. I'm not going to say it's one of the best staffs in college football. I think offensively, I really like the staff a lot offensively. Defensively, it's a good staff. It's not great. It could be better. That's all I'm going to say. But, so I think developing the players that we have and, playing to their skill set. Danny Enos refused to surround the players with the right playbook. I mean, he's just stubborn, and I'm tired of stubborn coaches at Miami. Just humble yourself. Okay, forget what happened 20 years ago. Forget what happened during your time at Alabama. You're at Miami right now, and it's fight or flight mode. Okay, just get the job done. There's no reason why we should be running play action, going max protection. Every play. That wasn't the right personnel that we had for that offense that past season. We're not Alabama. We're not Wisconsin. We're not a power football program. We play fast. That is Miami football. So hopefully Rhett Lashley, he understands that. It seems like he does understand that. We have the right quarterback in play. We have the right personnel. We have a very good running back group. Jalen Knighton is going to be special. I mean, I'm just going to say it right now. He's going to be special. Everyone says he's going to be special. The future is bright at Miami. We're a sleeping giant. We have the best recruiting fertile area to succeed. Hey, I think we are a sleeping giant, and hopefully we see it in the next coming years. I've been wrong before. I've been wrong plenty of times, but I think, the next few years should be good for Miami. Could be wrong. Yeah, Ja'Cory Harris is a firefighter in Miami, so that's very good, very cool news. There is life after football. Obviously, people have to get real jobs. Not everyone becomes an NFL star, lives that great life, but makes millions of dollars. But yeah, great to hear Ja'Cory Harris giving back to the community, first responder in the community as a firefighter. So pretty cool to hear that. David Everett, Paul, who will be our next commit? I'm going to say Amari Daniels. I'm going to stand by that. Jake Garcia is still in play, so I don't know why people were stating that. The staff is still in contact with Jake Garcia on a weekly basis. He's playing in Valdosta, Georgia, in South Georgia. Okay, he's closer to Miami. Okay, just because an article comes out stating that he's not in play, no, don't listen to it. He's still in play. Miami is going to continuously talk to Jake Garcia until it is pen to paper. So just want to let you guys know, regarding Jake Garcia, their relationship is very discreet, undercover. Miami knew he was going to play high school football in South Georgia before he publicly stated that. It wasn't a surprise to Miami. He already told Miami. So obviously they're not, it's a very low-key relationship Miami has with Jake Garcia, and not a lot of information is coming out about that. So I think next commit will be Amari Daniels, and I think he's a perfect addition to this recruiting class. Watch out, it could be Markevius Brown as well. Markevius Brown at IMG Academy, cornerback. I think we'll land him. I think Rhett Lashley calls plays from the sidelines. Lakers all day. I think he calls plays from the sidelines. I don't think he calls it from the booth. 919-647-4716. Yeah, Al Golden had a lawsuit that ended today. By the way, guys, it's been going on for quite a while, and it officially ended today. Hey, I'm just glad we have moved forward from Al Golden. He was the worst hire at the University of Miami. He failed to recognize that his defensive coordinator was making him a bad head coach. That's all he had to do, was just get rid of Mark D'Onofrio, bring in Manny Diaz, and he would have had a lot of success at Miami compared to the small amount of success he had during his time at Miami. During Al Golden's time as Miami's head coach, Jimbo Fisher from Florida State was stealing players and developing relationships in the city of Miami. That's how Florida State got so ahead of Miami. Miami had to play catch up. It was just an awful hire. And the sad thing is that all the coaches Miami was considering during that time, like Randy Edsall, Al Golden, some other, like nobody from that group was even successful. Miami wasn't even considering anyone. The final tier of coaches. It was really just an awful list. And hey, I mean, I think our athletic director, was it Kirby Holka or something, or some other guy? He's at Texas Tech now. I mean, just Donna Shalala, man. I mean, there's some things you just really had to scratch your head about, with the advice she was giving the athletic program. It really put a damper on this program. And we had to play catch up a lot. We had to play a lot of catch up. Mark Richt, he did a lot of great things. He did push for the IPF indoor practice facility. That's another thing too. Holsum one did say, I mean, the relationships with the high school coaches, the recruits, Al Golden, I mean, completely destroyed a lot. I mean, he did not leave this town with a good rep at all. Oh yeah, that is true. Randy Edsall did beat Al Golden first year at Maryland. I remember that game, man. That was ugly. I mean, all the games were pretty much ugly. But Mark Richt, that he pushed for the indoor practice facility, that was huge. That was something we needed. So, I mean, by all means, man, Mark Richt did a lot for this program. I think he set up kind of a base that we could build off of moving forward in the future. I understand the whole thing with not wanting to fire your son, not wanting to modernize your offense. But he did a lot. He did a lot for this program, to move forward. I felt like he set us up for a home run hire. When he retired, he didn't take money from his buyout, whatever the contract terms were, but he could have left with a lot of money, and he didn't want to. He didn't want to short end Miami. So I respect that. I respect that. It is what it is. Manny Diaz is our head coach, and he has my full support. He's proven that he wants to succeed at Miami. He's going to give it his all. And, I think we've seen it with the offseason changes. So I'm all in with Manny Diaz, and I'll stand by him, and I'm going to support the program. He's the head coach of the University of Miami, and I'm a University of Miami fan. So I support Manny Diaz. Thad Franklin. Great question, FJ. There was an article that released. The funny thing is he just interviewed with Footballville Nation. So definitely go check that out. There's an article released that, he may be wanting to go to Florida State, get some more playing time if we do add Amari Daniels. Here's the thing with Thad Franklin. He's always been poking at other schools throughout his whole recruiting battle. I know he did state that his recruitment was locked down. So I'm curious how that one's going to end up regarding Thad Franklin. I really am, because he was poking at Penn State. There was Florida, now Florida State with that article. So, hey, whatever happens. Nothing is official until it's pen to paper. But there was an article that came out about Thad Franklin. I think if there was someone in this class who I think would flip, if I was a betting man, I would say Thad Franklin. Especially if we're going to add Amari Daniels. We're interested in Amari Daniels. Hey, maybe he does flip. Yeah, no, that is a very good player, and that's the thing too. Not a lot of people talk about. I mean, we have a lot of guys from Chaminade Madonna who are committed to this class. We have the Bordegalis, the younger brother, Thad Franklin, Alan Hayes, Jamal Jackson, class of 2022. So we have a lot of people committed from Chaminade Madonna Prep in Broward County, kind of like a mini Palmetto 5, mini Miami Northwestern 5, all committed to Miami as well. So just something to look out for. They're all teammates, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what Ja'Cory Hammett. He flipped to West Virginia. He was dropped. They did interview him as well. 305 Sports, check him out. He did call it early. I remember that in a group chat we're in. He said Ja'Cory Hammett, I think he's going to flip to Miami. But yeah, man. 70 people on the live, man. 919-647-4716. Call in. We could probably got 13 minutes or less still going on. We're getting close to midnight. I'm exhausted, but it's all good, man. It's all fine talking Canes football with you guys. Hit the like button. I never ask for much. Hit the like button, guys. Just for being on here, man. This late at night, 9 days away. I'm excited. I know you guys are excited. I can't wait. Man, crazy roller coaster of off season, from recruiting, from spring practice being canceled, going into fall. Man, I can't wait till we play UAB. I really can't. It's been a pleasure talking Canes football, guys. I'm gonna head out, but I plan to do this, more actively in the future. Hope you guys enjoyed it, man. Hopefully we can do it after games, and hopefully we have a good season. Hopefully it'll be on good terms, not on bad terms like past seasons. This past season where we would just lose left and right. Anyways, guys, hope everyone has a great rest of the night, man. Hit the like button before you leave. Subscribe to the channel if you want, if you like the content. Miami Hurricanes After Dark tomorrow will be uploaded around midnight. And then Saturday, we got the infamous Miami Hurricanes football roundtable. Have a great night, guys. Thank you for coming on.